In today's video, I'm sharing the 5-step lead generation system that gets me 1 to 3 clients every single week without running ads, without doing sales calls, pre-sold people in the DMs, and they buy straight away. If you're creating content that gets views but 0 sales, you're probably missing 1 or more of the steps in the 5-step system. And here's the thing, most coaches focus on stages 3 and 4, and they ignore stage 1 and 2 and 5 completely. But when I implemented these 5 stages step by step, I went from 547 days of creating content but no sales to 1 to 3 prospects reaching out in the DMs, pre-sold, ready to buy. And today I'm breaking down the exact steps of the entire system so you can do the same. Sit back, relax, take out a pen and paper, pause the video where you need to, let's rock and roll. Now, most coaches think that more leads means creating more content, more carousels, more reels, more videos, more DMs, more emails. But here's what I've learned after 1,207 hours on sales calls. Lead generation isn't a volumes game. It's about having a system that moves people from who is this person to I want to work with this person in the shortest, cleanest, simplest way possible. And the coaches doing 30 to 90K a month, they're not posting 3 times more every single day. They're using a well-oiled system that works around the clock to do it for them. Let me show you how it works. Stage 1. Target the right buyer in the buyer journey. The job of stage 1 is to make sure that you're only speaking to the right person at the right time, most prone to buying from you. And here's where most people go wrong. They create content to cater to everyone, or worse, they create content that only caters to beginners, meaning their avatar who's at the beginning of their journey and struggling like crazy. And look, I get it. There's way more people struggling than winning. So it feels like the right thing to do to cast a wider, broader net for the stock. But the reality is strugglers don't convert. And if they do, they're nightmare clients. So instead, you want to target people who are later on in the journey. They're not struggling anymore. They've had some success. Some things have worked. Some things have failed. They're more self-reliant. They understand in the power of investing in themselves. They're more prone to investing in themselves. And so let me give you a couple of examples. So in my industry, the wrong example for me would be how to get your first client as a brand new coach. This is going to attract people who are in the beginning, scared, suspicious of being sold to, relatively insecure, struggling. And they're going to have a lot of apprehensions about investing in themselves, so there's going to be a low conversion rate. Now, the right example can be how to convert 10% more people from your audience without working more. This speaks to someone who already has clients, they're already making money, and they want to optimize. So high conversion rate. Another bad example could be how to start a coaching business. The right example? How my clients hit 30K months working 2 to 4 hours a day without the hustle. So we go from a wide general net to a narrow specific net of people who are looking to make that money in a certain amount of time without compromising on the things they don't want to do. The second one assumes that you're already in the game. You're not trying to figure out if it works. You're trying to figure out how to make it work better. And the reason this stage matters the most is you have to target the right person from the beginning. They convert faster, they pay more, they get better results, and they make everything else in all the other 5 stages a lot easier. And this brings us to stage 2. How to capture the attention of the right person. And the only job of this stage is to get the right person to stop mid-scroll and go through what you have to say. And there's a very specific way that we do it. So once you know who you're talking to, you need to capture their attention. And here's the most common mistake people make. They label the problem they're solving. So for example, if I say you have a bad content strategy, they might say, no, I have great content. I might say you need to get better at sales. They're like, no, I'm awesome at sales. I just need better leads. And so the change or the shift here that needs to happen is instead of speaking about the problem, you want to talk about the exact situation that they're experiencing right now. So instead of labeling the problem, paint a picture of the situation that they're in at this very moment. Because now you're describing symptoms. And when you describe symptoms, they become undeniable. They're either there or they're not. And here's what this looks like. So a bad example would be you have a weak content strategy, which is highly debatable. Everyone infers it to mean a different thing. A good example would be you spend 2 hours creating a post, it gets 47 likes, 3 comments, and no leads, while people who know less than you, have a smaller audience, are making 5K weeks consistently. Another bad example would be you struggle with sales objections. Completely up for debate. A good example can be you get to the end of a 45-minute sales call. you know they need your solution. They say, let me think about it. You follow up 3 times, they ghost you, and you feel like you're the one begging. That's a symptom. That's a lived-in experience. And the moment someone sees that, they stop scrolling because they can now see themselves in the words you're using, because you're speaking to their direct reality. Now, the reason why this matters is when people can literally see themselves in your content, they have no choice but to stop scrolling. They lean in because it looks like you're speaking to them. They're now thinking, this person gets me. They get how I feel. They get what I'm going through. And that's the first step to capturing attention through specificity. Now let's talk about stage 3. How to create ethical urgency so people buy from you faster than they normally would. Now, the only job of this stage is to make them want to solve this problem now instead of later. And so you've captured their attention, you now need to create urgency, and most people make the mistake of speaking to future far-off goals. Build a 6-figure business, scale to 100K months, achieve financial freedom. These are nice goals, but they're not urgent, they're vague, they're far away. So instead of doing that, the shift you want to make is speak to their immediate priorities, the thing that's keeping them stuck right now. A priority needs to be something they need solved this week, this month, not next year. Now, a bad example of this in my niche would be build a scalable coaching business. God knows what that means. A good example would be how to take 2 weeks off this summer without your lead flow drying up. The second one speaks to someone who's already making money but feels trapped in their business, like they can't leave. They can't step away because everything depends on them showing up every single day. This is urgent. Another bad example would be grow your business. A good example? How to stop trading time for money so you're not stuck every single week on 20 hours worth of sales calls. And here's the key, and you really want to be careful about this. You want to create urgency, but you don't want to attract broke-minded people. Broke is not a state of being, it's a state of mind. You can have someone with 0 money in the bank with an abundant mindset. You can have someone with a lot of money in the bank with a broke mindset. So you want to be very careful of making sure that you're not attracting broke leads into your pipeline. Broke people respond to urgency with fear. I need money now, so I'll do anything to make money. Abundant people respond to urgency very strategically. This seems like the right investment. Let me go ahead and make it. And so here's how you frame urgency the right way. Broke urgency would be use this hack to instantly hit 10K this week. The strategic way of creating urgency would be the step-by-step blueprint that we used to grow an Instagram account to 13 leads a day in 2 months flat. The first one attracts raw desperation. The second one creates urgency while maintaining credibility. And the reason this is important is urgency moves people from I'll think about it to I need this right now. But the right kind of urgency attracts buyers. The wrong kind of urgency attracts desperate people who usually require a lot of convincing, or tire kickers who are just window shopping. This brings us to stage 4, building belief. The only job of this stage is to make them believe that they can achieve the result. So you've captured their attention, you've made it urgent. Now you need to make them believe it's possible for them. And here's the mistake most coaches make. They sell the big dream. Achieve 100K months, have financial freedom, sell without sales calls, build a business that runs on autopilot without you. These are great dreams, but they feel far away into the future. And when something feels far away, people do not believe it's achievable for them. So the shift here is to show them believable milestones with proof. A milestone is a stepping stone towards the big dream. It's small enough to feel achievable, but significant enough to create momentum. Now, a bad example of this would be build a business that runs without you. A good example would be, here's the exact method that we used. So Niels hit 20K in a month, working 2 hours every single day. Is more believable, is more achievable, people can see themselves in it, they can believe it happening for them. The milestone serves as proof that the dream is possible, and the proof is what creates belief. Another bad example would be become a 7-figure coach. A good example of that would be, here are the step-by-step things we did for Hannah to achieve $23,000 in 1 month on Facebook. And the reason this works so well for conversion is that belief is the bridge between interest and investment. If you don't have belief, you're not going to have a sale. And this brings us to stage 5, positioning your solution, or which is idea-based selling. So you're speaking to the right person, you've captured their attention, you've created the urgency, you've made them believe that it's possible for them. Now it's time to position yourself as the next natural thing that they want to get. And here's the final mistake that so many coaches make. They give tactical value. Here's how to write a hook. Here's how to structure your offer. Here's how to handle objections. And all of that gets saved, but it doesn't convert. It doesn't get any sales. And here's why. Your ideal clients already know what their problem is. They've already tried to solve it. What they're looking for is a new path, a different solution. And so the shift here needs to be to stop giving value or how-to content and start giving ideas and beliefs backed by your frameworks. And so instead of here's how to achieve X, you say here's why trying to achieve X has not been working for you, and here's why I believe you should do this instead. Now, a bad example of this would be add 5 offers to your bonus stack and you'll sell more. A good example would be bonuses are a weak band-aid for a bad offer. If your offer doesn't sell without bonuses, it's not going to sell with them either. That's why we use the offer alchemizer to transform the core offer instead of stacking a bunch of add-ons to it. The second one is an idea. It's a perspective. It's contrarian, and it naturally leads into your offer or your IP because your offer is the solution. Another bad example would be use this script to close more sales. A good example would be following sales script is exactly why prospects don't trust you, because they can smell it from a mile away. That's why my 7 levels intimacy framework is not about scripts, but authentic connection. And the reason why this matters for conversion is when you position yourself as the new way to a problem they want to solve, you are no longer competing with everyone else in the industry. You stand out. You're positioned as one of a kind, niche of one, blue ocean. And this is where your IP and your messaging and your frameworks come in. So in my case, it's the Bold Brand Blueprint, the Perfect Prospect Path, the Magnetic Messaging Matrix, the Offer Alchemy System, 7 levels of intimacy, 3R Persuasion Framework. These aren't just cool sounding IP names. These are ideas that I believe in, around which I've created IP that helps my clients achieve a result they're wanting to achieve in the way they'd like to achieve. These are systems, and systems sell. Now, when you implement this entire system like a well-oiled machine, it starts generating 1 to 3 highly qualified leads every single week. This is how Luke made $22,000 in 2 weeks. This is how Hannah made $23,000 in 1 month. This is how Niels made $20,000 working 2 hours a day. They didn't just post more, they used an entire system. And if you want help implementing the system in your business, using our Bold Brand Blueprint to attract pre-sold clients in your DMs, entirely through strategic content and premium positioning, watch the video linked below. And if that resonates, we can talk about what it looks like to work with each other. I hope this has been helpful. I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.